welcome to another episode of On Fire here on Daily Mirror Online. I'm Easwaran Rutnam. Sri Lanka and Turkey have maintained strong bilateral relations over the past several years. As Turkey celebrates its Republic Day this month, we are joined on the program today by the Turkish ambassador to Sri Lanka, Demet Sekercioglu, to discuss a wide range of matters. Ambassador, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Easwaran. Thank you.
So, Ambassador, as Turkey celebrates its Republic Day this month, how do you see the bilateral relationship between Turkey and Sri Lanka?
Well, the Republic of Turkey was proclaimed 98 years ago on the 29th of October 1923. But our bilateral relations with the island country goes way back to that date. The two countries laid the foundation of their bilateral relations more than 1.5 centuries ago, when Mr. Hasan Bey Marikar was nominated as the Honorary Consul of the Ottoman Empire in Colombo. Later, Turkey was also one of the first countries to recognize the then Ceylon at her independence. Today, despite the geographic distance, we enjoy close and cordial relations with Sri Lanka. There are no major issues between our countries which can hinder our relations, and we value our relations based on friendship, mutual understanding, and cooperation. The tsunami in the region on 2004 was a milestone, actually. The visit of His Excellency President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who was the then Prime Minister of Turkey, in February 2005, bolstered up our relations. Many high-level visits followed this visit of President Erdogan, warmed up the relations, and led to the opening of the Embassy of Sri Lanka in Ankara in 2012, and our embassy here in Colombo in 2013. Our national flag carrier, the Turkish Airlines, began its flights to Colombo on the same year. And as you well know, direct flights between countries are important to both develop commercial and people-to-people ties. Due to the global pandemic, unfortunately, since almost 2 years, number of interactions have been limited. However, in June this year, we have held the second session of the Turkey-Sri Lanka Joint Economic Commission meeting. This was organized virtually, discussed ways to enhance our economic and trade relations. In August, Defense Secretary General Kamal Bunarakne visited Turkey on the occasion of the 15th International Defense Industries Fair this time, and met with Turkish officials, including Defense Minister Hulusi Akar. Our ministers of foreign affairs met on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in New York and exchanged views on bilateral relations, as well as, of course, issues of common interest. Earlier this year, in the newly elected Sri Lankan Parliament, the Sri Lanka-Turkey Friendship Association was convened. Before that, after the elections in 2018, the Turkish counterpart of the association, which is called Turkey-Sri Lanka Friendship Group, was also established. And I had the opportunity to visit the chairman of the Turkish Friendship Association before coming to Sri Lanka last year in January. And he was very keen on further developing the relations between the two institutions. Well, all those are welcome developments, of course, and we are steadily preparing for the post-pandemic period, when I hope high-level visits will resume again, and it will give the opportunity also to our business communities to meet again face-to-face.
This year also marks 5 years, I believe, since the failed coup against the Turkish president. How has the country now fully, or has the country now fully recovered since the incidents of July 2016?
Yes, as you rightly mentioned, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, His Excellency the President, was main of the targets of the night of 15 July 2016. But the coup plotters also airbombed the Grand National Assembly of Turkey. And actually, this is very important because the Grand National Assembly of Turkey is the symbol of national sovereignty. It is the body who has declared Turkey as a republic. So this is very, very important in this sense. They also airbombed the presidential complex, the buildings of the National Police, National Intelligence Organization, as well as the Police Special Operations Center, which is crucial counter-terrorism operation body of Turkey. Well, the goal obviously was to create chaos in the country and to get the democratic institutions surrender. And when you think about how to create chaos in the country, of course, eliminating the head of states is one of the goals. But actually, the ultimate goal of the coup attempt was to dismantle and to destroy the democratic foundations of the republic and to establish a new state under the absolute rule of Fethullah Gulen. So, who is Fethullah Gulen? He's an imam, and he's considered by his followers as the imam of the universe. So they believe that Fethullah Gulen has the capacity to found a global state and rule this global state. So Fethullah Gulen is the ringleader of this clandestine criminal terrorist organization. It is called FETO. It has established itself in the early 1970s as a charitable education institution. But gradually, it turned into a secretive operational structure which aimed to transform Turkish society from within. So, and Turkish nation has paid a heavy price to protect her democracy. Fethullah Gulen and the coup plotters led by Fethullah Gulen killed 251 innocent civilians that night, and thousands were wounded. Since then, we have made tremendous effort to completely eradicate FETO's presence both inside and outside Turkey. Following intense operations, we were able to bring FETO elements before justice. And FETO has now lost the control and the power in Turkey. However, we have to continue to be careful. Some of the FETO elements which were linked to the coup attempt fled the country, and they are now striving to survive in countries where they had previously established their presence. And due to this broad international network, FETO essentially poses beyond the national threat now. Considering its secretive and unique structure, it could cause immeasurable danger to all countries where it is still active.
Now, the president, ambassador, has been accused of committing grave human rights abuses in the crackdown on those allegedly involved in or linked to the coup. Has the Turkish president lost the support of key world leaders in recent times?
Well, as I explained, the perpetrators were brought before justice, and Turkey is a democratic, secular, social state of law. Those who have been tried to assassinate the president and the democratically elected president and killed so many people and wounded so many people. You could not expect them to live as if nothing had happened. So they have been tried, convicted on the basis of the rule of law and fundamental rights, and several processes are still ongoing. But there's a great number of actual facts, evidences, which is linking FETO elements and Fethullah Gülen himself as the mastermind to the events on this 15 July 2016. There are many video footages, digital materials, satellite communications, confessions, which are proving all this. So things are very clear, actually. They are guilty. So, but what is disturbing, on the other hand, is that those who pretend upholding democracy and human rights were not able to condemn this heinous attack against Turkey's democracy. Or some have reacted, well, too late, too weak. No country and no leader has the obligation to appreciate His Excellency President Erdogan or to agree with his policies. But on the other hand, there's a moral obligation to respect the choice of Turkish nation. If Turkish people are not pleased with the policies adopted by the president or the government, then they will express their choice during the next elections. However, whitewashing the criminal activities of FETO and its affiliates, offering shelter to those who are responsible of killing of hundreds is unacceptable. So if we have to talk about human rights, what about the rights of the hundreds of families who were destroyed on that fateful night? The rights of children who lost their families, their fathers and their mothers. The rights of journalists, academics, bureaucrats, military officers who were lynched, purged, and imprisoned by FETO members just for opposing the criminal organization. It is very disturbing that those who are trying to give us lessons of democracy and human rights have never raised their voice when FETO was busy eliminating their opponents with fabricated evidences. So if we recognize that terrorism is a common threat, then we should be sincere. There should be a sincere cooperation and established measures against terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. Experience has shown that no country is safe until everyone is safe. But unfortunately, some global powers don't seem to have learned lessons from the past.
You mentioned about FETO trying to establish links with other groups. I mean, do you see FETO maybe trying to establish links with groups in Sri Lanka?
Well, FETO, we have to recognize that FETO was also present in Sri Lanka. They were running a school. Chamber of Commerce, a cultural foundation, and various businesses. As their aim and modus operandi is the same all around the world. Of course, it was our duty to inform our Sri Lankan friends regarding the threat that FETO represented for the country. Since the very first day, actually, we informed all relevant Sri Lankan authorities on the ways the terrorist organization is operating. We have provided the details of FETO affiliated entities here in Sri Lanka as well as the individuals. And we are pleased to note that our intensive efforts have eventually resulted in a success. The school was closed. The school was sold to a Sri Lankan businessman. The Chamber of Commerce and the Cultural Foundation were closed. And we were informed that FETO elements residing in the country have left. We are deeply appreciative for the cooperation and support of Sri Lankan authorities to that end. However, as I expressed earlier, FETO has lost its power in Turkey and in a number of friendly countries, including Sri Lanka, as I mentioned. But now they are struggling to live in other places. So we should always be attentive to the situation, because it would not be a surprise for its affiliates to explore ways to settle to Sri Lanka again if they feel that the attention is disrupted in the future. Why Sri Lanka again? Because Sri Lanka is a beautiful country and its people are very hospitable, so it would not be a surprise. So it is a great importance to continue to be vigilant.
You also spoke earlier about the defense relationship between Sri Lanka and Turkey. You mentioned about our defense secretary visiting Turkey as well. Is there intelligence sharing between Turkey and Sri Lankan agencies to identify FETO operatives in Sri Lanka?
Yes, as I tried to explain, definitely there's information and intelligence sharing between the two countries. During the last 5 years, we have been in close contact and cooperation with all Sri Lankan authorities to eliminate FETO's presence in Sri Lanka. We have provided them with all necessary informations. In coordination with the local authorities, we were able to establish a special mechanism to limit their mobility in the country. And eventually they felt the obligation to leave. We also follow from the news that appeared in the media that the Presidential Commission of Inquiry on the Easter Sunday attacks probed the link between FETO and Easter Sunday attacks, which took place in April 2019. There are some allegations that FETO elements might have funded some of those who are involved in Easter Sunday tragedy. Of course, the truth will emerge as a result of the investigations and from the trials which have begun hearings on last October 4th. Once all this procedure will be completed, and we are ready, of course, to help in any way we can if Turkey might contribute to unveiling the reality. We are ready to cooperate on that issue as well.
During the recent meeting in New York between your foreign minister and Sri Lanka's foreign minister, Professor J.L. Piris, the need to expand ties between both countries had been noted. What specific areas do you feel Turkey and Sri Lanka can work together on, Ambassador?
Well, we should actually admit that Turkey and Sri Lanka, both peoples and business communities don't know about each other very much. Although there's a great economic potential between the two countries. So Sri Lanka in Turkey is mostly known for the Ceylon tea. And why? Because the Turkish people are the first tea consumers in the world. Actually, we consume as an average of 5 kilos of tea per person annually. And although we are ourselves a tea producer country, we are also #1 importer of Sri Lankan tea. However, there are many other spices, for example, which are used in Turkish cuisine, but it is striking that Turkey does not know about the cinnamon, the quality of Sri Lankan cinnamon, which is one of the most used spices in Turkish cuisine. So we still have a lot to learn about each other, actually. Otherwise, Sri Lanka has many natural resources, minerals, many natural resources, which can be used in diverse industries in Turkey. And the industry sector have tremendously developed over these 20 years. So the Turkish public is also discovering Sri Lanka as a touristic destination. Before the pandemic, there was a great interest for Sri Lanka. Of course, tourism is the sector which has the most heavily suffered from the pandemic. But I'm confident that the sector has the ability to rebound back once the virus will be on control. And in this context, actually, there's a great opportunity because, as I told earlier, the Turkish National Carrier, Turkish Airlines, is operating direct flights from Istanbul to Colombo. They were flying 7 times a week before the pandemic. Nowadays, they are operating only 5 flights. But I think that as soon as the number of tourists will raise, the number of scheduled flights will also increase. And it is also worth mentioning that during the pandemic period, Turkish Airlines has played a great role in delivering Sri Lankan export goods to the world markets. On the other hand, as I expressed, tremendous advancement has been made by manufacturing industry in Turkey, which allows us to offer high quality and cost-effective products all over the world and in many sectors. So, for example, agriculture, food industry, pharmaceutical industry, energy, machinery, ICT, defense industries are some of the sectors where trade and cooperation can be developed between Turkey and Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka's envoy in Turkey has been calling for an increase in investments by Turkey in Sri Lanka. In what areas does Turkey see potential?
Well, there are already 3 Turkish companies operating in the tea sector, as I mentioned. Tea is one of the areas where Turkey has a great interest. Turkish construction companies are ranked second worldwide after Chinese constructors, and they are very much prized for the quality of their work. Currently, a Turkish construction company is in charge of Tagama water supply project. Some were interested in projects developed by various Sri Lankan authorities previously, but unfortunately, these projects could not materialize due to the pandemic and the dire situation that it had created on Sri Lankan economy, actually. However, Sri Lanka has the will and, of course, the vocation to become a trading hub in the Indian Ocean. She will have to extensively invest in developing her infrastructure in the upcoming period after the pandemic. And in that sense, I see huge opportunities for Turkish companies in the future in the country. But construction is not the only area where Turkish companies could offer their services to Sri Lanka. Actually, Sri Lanka could also make use of Turkish experience and expertise in various other sectors like solid waste management, upgrading health sector services, agro-food, dairy sector, and all those sectors I know that Sri Lankan authorities are very keen to develop. Currently, Turkey is producing 53% of her electricity from renewables. And we have energy companies which are also extensively working in several countries. Given Sri Lanka's energy policies seeking the increased contribution of renewable sources in the upcoming period, if I'm not mistaken, the goal is to achieve 70% by 2030. Turkish companies can also contribute to this end. In fact, economic and trade relations are far below from their potential. But we have been able to bring together the business community during this pandemic period through webinars. And I'm happy to see that there's a huge interest from both sides. Turkish and Sri Lankan business people are very keen on discovering the opportunities in each other's country. So we will continue to connect them until the day will come again. They will have the opportunity to visit each other, and we can organize business visits with the business people coming and seeing around both Turkey and Sri Lanka, and to explore opportunities, face-to-face opportunities to develop both countries' economies together.
We will leave it at that, Ambassador. Thank you for taking time to join us on the program. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us as well. And do join us on our next episode on Fire here on Daily Mirror. And do follow us on our social media channels on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Till next time, stay safe.